Welcome back to Murder, Mystery, Crime, and History. This video is going to be another in the series about conspiracy theories, except the difference between these ones actually turned out to be true. Enjoy the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the bell so you're notified of newer videos. Thank you. The first of these shocking conspiracies was one called Project Sunshine. Project Sunshine was a series of research studies that began in 1953 to ascertain the impact of radioactive fallout on the world's population. The project was initially kept secret, only became known publicly in 1956. Commissioned jointly by the United States Atomic Energy Commission and United States Air Force Project RAND. Sunshine sought to examine the long-term effects of nuclear radiation on the biosphere due to repeated nuclear detonations of increasing yield, with the conclusion from Project Gabriel that radioactive isotope SR90 represented the most serious threat to human health from nuclear fallout. Project Sunshine sought to measure the global dispersion of SR90 by measuring its concentration in the tissues and bones of the dead. Of particular interest was tissue from the young, whose developing bones have the highest propensity to accumulate SR90 and thus the highest susceptibility to radiation damage. Sunshine elicited a great deal of controversy when it was revealed that many of the remains sampled were utilized without prior permission from the deceased or from relatives of the dead, which wasn't known until many years later. On January 18, 1955, then AEC Commissioner Dr. Willard Libby said that there was insufficient data regarding the effects of fallout due to a lack of human samples, especially samples taken from children, to analyze. Libby was quoted saying, "I don't know how to get them, but I do say that it is a matter of prime importance to get them, and particularly in the young age group. So human samples are often of prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country." This led to over 1,500 samples being gathered, of which only 500 were analyzed. Many of the 1,500 sample cadavers were babies and young children and were taken from countries from Australia to Europe, often without their parents' consent or knowledge. According to the investigation launched after a British newspaper reported that British scientists had obtained children's bodies from various hospitals and shipped their body parts to the United States. A British mother had said that her stillborn baby's legs were removed by British doctors, and to prevent her from finding out what had happened, she was not allowed to dress the baby for the funeral. So basically, our government was just stealing dead bodies without anybody's permission and getting away with it. This next shocking but true theory was that Canada's government was so paranoid about homosexuality that it actually developed a radar machine to detect gay people, quote unquote, a Gaydar Machine. Yes, this actually happened. In the 1960s, the Canadian government hired a university professor to develop a way to detect homosexuality in federal employees. He came up with a machine that measured pupil dilation in response to same-sex erotic imagery. The Canadian government used it to exclude or fire more than 400 men from civil service, the military, and Mounties. It is absolutely crazy that stuff like this actually existed back in the day. The next shocking conspiracy that turned out to be true was during Prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking. Yes, this was actually true. Manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing their product with dangerous chemicals for years prior to Prohibition. But between 1926 and 1933, the federal government pushed manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning the alcohol into moonshine. That didn't stop the bootleggers or their customers, and by the end of Prohibition, more than 10,000 Americans had been killed by tainted booze. Much of the illegal booze was sold in infamous night spots called speakeasies, so-called from the practice of speaking quietly about such a place in public or when inside it, so as not to alert the police and neighbors. Next conspiracy turned true was that a stroke caused United States President Woodrow Wilson incapable of governing, and his wife surreptitiously stepped in. The truth is, Wilson did suffer a debilitating stroke towards the end of his presidency, but the government felt it was in the country's best interest to keep things quiet. The public didn't learn about the stroke for months, during which time his wife, Edith Wilson, was making most executive decisions. Despite Miss Wilson's claim that she acted only as a steward, historians who have analyzed the Wilson term in office confirmed that for well over a year, Mrs. Wilson was effectively president. Next was government project named MKUltra, and it was the code name of an illegal human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the US CIA. The experiments were intended to develop procedures and identify drugs such as LSD that could be used in interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. MKUltra used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions, such as the covert administration of high doses of psychoactive drugs, especially LSD, and other chemicals, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, and verbal and sexual abuse, in addition to other forms of torture. MKUltra began in 1953 and was reduced in scope in 1964 and 1967, and was halted in 1973. It was organized through the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence and coordinated with the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. The program engaged in illegal activities, including the use of U.S. and Canadian citizens as unwitting test subjects. MKUltra's scope was broad, with activities carried out under the guise of research at more than 80 institutions, including colleges and universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies. The CIA operated using front organizations, although some top officials at these institutions were aware of the CIA's involvement. Investigation efforts into MKUltra were hampered by CIA Director Richard Helms's order that all MKUltra files be destroyed in 1973. The Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission investigations relied on the sworn testimony of direct participants and on the small number of documents that survived Helms's order. In 1977, a Freedom of Information Act request uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents relating to MKUltra, which led to Senate hearings. Some surviving information about MKUltra was declassified in July 2001. The next conspiracy we have is that the Dalai Lama is a CIA agent. Maybe the reason the Dalai Lama is smiling in all those photos has something to do with the fact that he pulled in a six-figure salary from the United States government during the 1960s. According to declassified intelligence documents, he earned $180,000 in connection with the CIA's funding of the Tibetan resistance to the tune of $1.7 million per year. The idea was to disrupt and hamper China's infrastructure. The Dalai Lama is believed to have the power to choose the body into which he is reincarnated, meaning that the current Dalai Lama is a reincarnation of the last. Today, millions of people across all religions believe in reincarnation. The next shocking and true conspiracy was that the FBI was spying on former Beatle John Lennon. They definitely were spying on this man, because just like many other counterculture heroes and pro-peace subjects, Lennon was considered a threat. Anti-war songs like Give Peace a Chance didn't exactly endear former Beatle John Lennon to the Nixon administration, NPR reported in 2010. In 1971, the FBI put Lennon under surveillance, and the Immigration and Naturalization Service tried to deport him a year later. The next true one is that with the advances in technology, the government is using its vast resources to track citizens. And the truth is, in 2016, government agencies sent 49,868 requests for user data to Facebook, 27,850 to Google, and 9,076 to Apple, according to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a major nonprofit organization that defends civil liberties in the digital world and advises the public on matters of internet privacy. So the next time you feel like you're being stalked, it's probably your own government. Project Cumulus was done in the UK in the 1950s, and they were involved in weather manipulation through cloud seeding experiments, known jokingly internally as Operation Witch Doctor. The project was operational between 1949 and 1952. A conspiracy theory has circulated claiming that the Lynmouth flood was caused by Project Cumulus. This claim is still ultimately unproven, and weather patterns have shown similar floods dating back to both the 18th and 19th centuries throughout northern Wales and the UK. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit the bell so you're notified for new videos.